Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Here. Mr. Metcalf?
Here.
Mr. Paul?
Here.
Mr. Gomagna?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here. That is not.
Let the record show that all members are here and accounted for. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Your Honor. I move that the minutes of March 31st, 2015 and April 7th, 2015 be accepted as written. Second.
It's been regularly moved and seconded that the minutes of March 31st, 2015 and April 7th, 2015 be accepted as written. Roll call.
Mr. DeLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Berthold? Aye. Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Gomagna?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
So moved. Minutes accepted. Petitions and communications, Madam Clerk.
None this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would like to remind everyone that if they have a cell phone, to please turn it off or place it in the vibrating position. Ordinance number 2015-30 by the Planning Committee, Ms. Curdahl, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson. We have a new agenda that was distributed tonight. Excuse for the delay. There was a new tentative agenda, and I believe that is what's in the audience for everyone to follow along. We will now move into resolution number 2015-4 by the council as a whole. And if there's no objections, we'll read it in its entirety. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered.
Resolution number 2015-4, a resolution proclaiming the week of April 13th through April 17th, 2015 as Catholic Schools Week. Whereas the theme for Catholic Schools Week 2015 is Catholic Schools, Communities of Faith, Knowledge, and Service. And whereas Catholic Schools Week is celebrated nationally the last week in January, for 2015 the Diocese of Steubenville is celebrating the week of April 13th through April 17th. Schools typically celebrate Catholic Schools Week with masses, open houses, and activities for students, families, parishioners, and the community at large. And whereas through these events, schools focus on the value Catholic education provides to young people and its contributions to our church, our communities, and our nation. And whereas the logo and theme developed for National Catholic Schools Week was in response to member requests for a theme and logo that would last more than a year, the new theme will be used for at least 3 years. And whereas the theme encompasses several concepts that are at the heart of a Catholic education. First, schools are communities, small families in their own right, but also members of the larger community of home, church, city, and nation. Faith, knowledge, and service are 3 measures by which any Catholic school can and should be judged. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Steubenville, County of Jefferson, State of Ohio, Section 1, that this council does hereby proclaim the week of April 13th through April 17th, 2015 as Catholic Schools Week throughout the Diocese of Steubenville. Section 2, that the clerk of this council shall present a certified copy of this resolution to a representative of the Diocese of Steubenville, the principals of Bishop John King Museo Elementary School, Bishop John King Museo Junior High School, and Catholic Central High School, of Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force immediately upon its passage and approval by council, otherwise at the earliest period allowed by law.
Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, I move the resolution number 2015-4 be adopted by roll call.
Your Honor. I'd like to address something before we put this. A couple weeks ago, Mr. Nelson stood up and asked about the resolutions about talking, people having the right to talk. And you made reference to rules of council. Now, I looked in the codified ordinances and you meant the legislative part, right? Is that what you meant by rules of council?
Yeah, I was going to explain before I call for a vote, but go ahead. Yes.
Okay. And, well, are we going to have public input? Is that what you were going to say? Okay, then I'm done. Thank you very much.
Can I have a second to the motion? It's been regularly moved and second that resolution number 2015-4 be adopted by roll call. Before I call roll call, let me explain, as Mr. Bill Magna alluded to, that there was a question on a resolution. Past practices by this council and what was established by this council, just as this council established a sunshine meetings, we will now allow public participation that's not outlined in the charter. This is outlined in the charter that the resolutions and ordinances that are adopted that I call for citizens' participation. In the past, when there was a roll call vote on a resolution, we would go directly to a vote. However, it was called to my attention, the law director and I confer, we will have public participation. So is there anyone wishing to speak on resolution number 2015-4? Please come forward, state their name and address. Although it requires amount of time as referred to I think that gave sufficient amount of time. Can I have a question?
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Curto? Aye. Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Romagna? Mr. Davis?
Aye.
So moved. Resolution number 2015-4 fully adopted. Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor. Two things here. First of all, Catholic schools would normally is in January, as the resolution had stated, but the winter weather times with all the activities, they wanted to move it to April. One of the activities is a talent show, which is going on at the high school right now, which I just left. So that's the reason why I would ask if I could present tomorrow to the principals when I take my children to school the resolutions. That's all I have to say, Your Honor.
Very good. The resolutions will be with the clerk that you can present. Thank you. Mr. Metcalf. We will now move on to ordinance number 2015-30 by the Planning Committee. Ms. Curto, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its third and final reading.
Ordinance number 2015-30, an ordinance declaring buildings and structures located at 509 Railroad Avenue, 511 and 515 Railroad Avenue, 622 Pine Street, 603 Garrett Avenue, 605 Railroad Garrett Avenue, 1247 Lincoln Avenue, 511, 513, and 513 Rear Center Avenue, 606 Brady Avenue, 831 Sherman Avenue, 833 Sherman Avenue, 222 South 8th Street, and 220 to 230 Adams Street, Steubenville, Ohio, to be unsafe structures as defined by Section 108 of the Property Maintenance Code of the City of Steubenville, Ohio, and declaring such to be a public nuisance and ordering the removal or demolition of such unsafe structures.
You heard the third and final reading of ordinance number 2015-30. Is there anyone wishing to speak on it? Please come forward, state their name and address. Members of council?
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Curto? Aye. Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Romagna?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-30, duly adopted. Ordinance number 2015-31. No, I'm sorry, that's full. Ordinance number 2015-33 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Makeup, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its third and final reading. Excuse me. Ordinance number 2015-32 by the Public Utility Committee, Mr. Makeup, Mr. Gioretto, Ms. Kurtall, for its third and final reading.
Ordinance number 2015-32, an ordinance authorizing and designating the city manager as the local official with the authority to execute a project known as the wastewater treatment plant failing replacement project and complete all necessary functions that may be required to complete said project, including but not limited to engineering design services, construction and administration inspection services, bidding services, advertising for bids for construction, including any rebidding that may be required, entering into a contract with the lowest and most qualified bidder and authorizing payment therefore.
Here the third and final reading of ordinance number 2015-32. Is there anyone wishing to speak on it? Please come forward, state their name and address. If not, I would like to call to the law director's attention that the sponsors of this legislation, instead of Suggs, it should be Kirk Hall as the third member, and if adopted, this effective date would be May 15th.
Good question.
Roll call.
Mr. Gioretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kurtall?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-32, duly adopted. Ordinance number 2015-33 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Makeup, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its third reading.
Ordinance number 2015-33, an ordinance authorizing and directing the approval of expenditures without a purchase order over $3,000 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.41.
You heard the third and final reading of ordinance number 2015-33. Is there anyone who should speak on it? Please come forward, state their name and address. If not, members of council.
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kurtall?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-33, duly adopted. Ordinance number 2015-42 by the Public Utility Committee, Mr. Makeup, Mr. Gioretto, Ms. Kurtall, for its second reading.
Ordinance number 2015-42, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute task order agreement number 7C for design build services for the Lower University Boulevard Sanitary Sewer Repair Project with MWH Constructors, Inc., and complete all necessary functions that may be required to complete said project.
Here, the second reading of ordinance number 2015-42. The third and final reading will be on April 28th. If adopted, effective date of this ordinance will be May 29th. Ordinance number 2015-44 by the Parks and Recreation Committee, Mr. Davis, Mr. Paul, Mr. Bill Magna.
Ordinance number 2015-44, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to pay a portable tree service the amount of $12,500 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Davis.
Yes, Your Honor, I move that the rule requiring the ordinance to be read as three separate occasions be suspended and that ordinance number 2015-44, 2000-44 be given the second and third reading as well as passed and rejected.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. As pointed out by Mr. Johnson, Now, since it's in the caption, the motion's not necessary, so we will move into public comments. On ordinance number 2015-44, please come forward, state your name and address. Members of council, Mr. Davis.
Just for public knowledge, this ordinance here is brought to us a couple of weeks ago. We had some tree services done at the park, on the hillside of the park. The guy did a great job, and we somehow misplaced the PO number. So we're just got to do this to get them paid. It was a very good job, and the work's been done for quite some time. That's why it's under emergency. Thank you.
And under emergency, this legislation to take effect, it needs to receive 5 affirmative votes. Any other members of council?
Questions?
Roll call.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kirkendall? Aye. Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-44 duly adopted and will be in effect immediately. That will conclude the ordinances and resolutions before City Council this evening. We will now move into the report of committees, and we'll start off with Mr. Diaretta.
I have 2 short reports on the microphone. This coming Saturday, down at Beatty Park, we're going to have a cleanup. Reverend Montgomery and a bunch of volunteers from his church. They're all doers. They're not talkers. We're picking up paper, cutting grass, weeds, and anything else. Anyone is invited. If we're doing this for 6 consecutive Wednesdays. Tire pickup went very well. I think we have over 1,300 approximately. I don't have the exact figure. And also the bulk pickup went very well. Mr. Bolden, is that free? The Green Team paid for both of them. We're going to pay for one and one. I know we're going to get 2.
Oh,
I want to get as much as I can.
the second, actually it's, sorry. The, Councilman, the second pickup that you refer to is a bulk collection. It was, and is in the budget for the JP Green Team. What they've asked are different communities to submit a proposal. That's what they want done, and I know Mr. Baird is working on that right now. And our goal is to have that, you're absolutely right, in the second part of the year, maybe October.
Before the money runs out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Diaretta. Thank you, Mr. Bolden. We'll continue on with committee reports to Mr. Johnson.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Kirkendall?
Yes, Your Honor, the only report I have is that the beautification committee will be postponed until April 30th instead of being the third Thursday of this month. It will be Thursday, April 30th at 6 p.m. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Kirkendall. We'll continue on to Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor. A couple items here. First of all, last week, council had a nice meeting with the Diocese of Steubenville. That's with the new cathedral work that's going to be done, and it's just going to be a wonderful thing for the South End, and hopefully it'll help spur development in the South End. Second of all, last night, our city manager, yourself, I believe Chuck, attended a meeting with Mingo discussing synergies amongst communities dealing with water delinquencies, water policies. Very good meeting, and talking with Tim next week, as I announced right now, the joint finance and utilities meeting at 7:45 immediately following Sunshine meeting. We will sit down, talk about some of those policies. And we'll have in our possession, hopefully by that time, the monthly reports / quarterly reports from finance, and we'll discuss those as well too. So 7:45 next Tuesday, immediately following Sunshine. Your Honor, thank you. That's it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Metcalf. And the clerk will facilitate the joint meeting at 7:45 on April 21st, following the Sunshine meeting of City Council. We will now continue on to Mr. Paul.
Yes, Your Honor, I have 2 items. One, under public safety and health. Well, both are under public safety and health. One of the city and the county health departments were granted the Local Government Innovative Fund, and that is the grant to allow us to do the feasibility study regarding the combined two departments, the Jefferson County Health Department and the Steubenville Health Department, which is a good thing. We're moving in the right direction there. Second, I would like to bring up on April 28th, I would like to call a safety committee meeting. And that's through, and I need to call the ladies about the cats. I got to talk to them. And some other issues we need to talk about.
April 28th.
April 28th, yes, 2 weeks from today. 6 o'clock, I guess. 6 o'clock would be good. Yeah, gives us ample time. And if not, we can just make sure we don't lose John.
I got complaints, someone's missing their cats.
Well, we'll take care of this.
I said, I got more.
You got more? We're going
Is there
to
anything
try to
else,
take care
Mr.
of it.
Paul?
No, sir, I have nothing this evening. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Paul, and the clerk will facilitate the safety committee meeting for April 28th, 6 p.m. prior to the regular meeting of City Council. And the agenda will follow that meeting notice. Thank you, Mr. Paul. We'll continue on now to Mr. Bill Magna.
Yes, Mayor. One thing, last night about 10 o'clock, I got a call at home in reference to a water leak that was at Kegler Drive. So I happened to be in the truck anyway, so I'll take a ride over and look at it. When I turned the corner, it was not a water leak. It was a gusher, a 6-inch main busted there, and it was spraying asphalt and dirt and rock all over vehicles and the house that was there. It was unbelievable how high it was. So I called Chuck Murphy. I called Chuck and I said, Chuck, I know I ain't allowed to direct work, but I'll save you a trip and you can expedite this quick. They need a city crew here immediately to work on this. And he said, okay, so immediately Chuck Murphy and the crew showed up on the scene. And the work that they did there, I stayed with them probably till, I don't know, it was midnight maybe or something, but I went home, went to bed, I got up the next morning, made my rounds, I went over there at 10 o'clock, these guys were still working in an effort to clean up this property and everything like that. And I mean, they were working full throttle. It wasn't, you know, they had been there all night long, and it was 10 o'clock in the morning now, and they're still there. And to Chuck Murphy and that water crew, I just want to give them kudos for a job that I thought was exceptional. And I was proud of them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bill Magna. Mr. Bowen, you have a follow-up?
I just have a quick comment, and I would like to add, and I greatly appreciate the comments of Councilman Bill Magna. Mr. Murphy did summarize and review for me the water break on Kegler, and actually I had assigned him to come to our meeting tonight. And one of the reasons he's not here is I think it was, I think he certainly earned the night off. And but again, I appreciate that, and I do know that the water crew is very active, but they're doing a fine job out there as well. So again, I appreciate the comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen, and thank you, Mr. Bill Magna. We'll continue on with committee reports to Mr. Davis.
Yes, Your Honor, I have a couple of things here. First of all, as I was pulling out, Chuck Murphy was pulling in his driveway, still wearing his reflective gear. So he did a full day's job after. From the Park and Recreation Committee, the park, obviously this time of the year, this is our time, and it's really getting going. And over the past month, we had over 400 people come through the Martin Luther King Center. That's a lot of people in that time. Also, the maintenance staff has reopened the restrooms at Bellevue and Jim Woodsfield. Okay, so both parks have operating restrooms now for the season. Something new to the park department, we hosted a youth boxing class. We had 21 young people show up for that, so that was something else, another program that we're bringing to the city. And we were notified last couple of weeks that the North End Park new equipment, the new youth playground equipment will be arriving there by the end of this month. So everything's moving in the right direction. And while I'm on that, we have this thing called the Save Our Pool Committee, and we are still going at it, and we are right now trying to revitalize the sliding board at the pool. So something for the adults to enjoy. We put together a beer and wine tasting. All council members have tickets and information on that if anybody's interested. It's going to be held on Thursday, the 23rd at 7 o'clock at Frelick's Classic Corner. Tickets are $20 in advance. Coming up 2 Thursdays, yeah, next week actually. There'll be a jazz band there, there'll be hors d'oeuvres there, and the price of admission gets you to taste a few new products that are coming into the valley. So we'd love to have your support. Tell your friends, anybody of age, we'd love to have you down there. It'll be fun. Thank you. That's it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. That will conclude the report of committees from the members of council. Before we move into the administrative officers, our city manager, Mr. Dioretto reminded everybody of the cleanup down at Beatty Park. I would like to remind our citizens that this coming weekend on Saturday, we will have the hilltop cleanups, both Pleasant Heights and Laydell. Pleasant Heights people that are volunteering could report to Trinity Healthcare Center, the old Ohio Valley Hospital parking lot, front parking lot, and on Laydell, they moved it to the Tower of Power, the Laydell Nursing Home also. So we look for a lot of volunteers to help us clean up both hilltops, reporting at 11 a.m. at both sites. With that, we will now move to reports, our administrative officers, to our city manager, Mr. Bowler.
Thank you, Your Honor. A couple items to bring up this evening. Quick update on our Phase 2 meter program, the residential meters. We are about 1,200 meters that have been replaced as part of that project to date. That started, I want to say sometime in January, maybe a little bit later in January. Currently, there are 444 appointments that have been scheduled to replace meters. Those 444 should be done in the next 2 weeks, and this is so roughly about 20% of the project. Phase 2 is completed at this point, and again, I think we are still on schedule to complete this much-needed project in the third quarter of this year. A couple other items I wanted to mention. The emergency preparedness plan that had its kickoff meeting March 27th. That the project managers for that are Chief Capaldi and our health commissioner Shalita Smith, and also police department, and that will have hopefully some additional information to share at the safety committee on that project, but that has begun and is moving forward. And again, that's an update on our current emergency response plan. After review, it certainly seemed that needed to be updated and in some areas improved, and that's what that project entails, and we're hoping to complete that in June of this year. The M&R department reported working on 97 pothole locations and various roadwork repairs at 10 other streets throughout the city. In the month of March, that department responded to 197 service requests and 108 locations. So I know they've been extremely busy. Looking at our roadway infrastructure, we had some good news that we received earlier this week. The city was notified by the Ohio Public Works Commission that it had been approved for a grant of $199,000. This is for the Mall Drive, Fort Steuben Drive roadway improvement project. So I'm very pleased to announce that, and certainly would like to acknowledge particularly our engineering department, Mr. Golak, leading that effort for that project. The Buena Vista Waterline Project, a much-needed waterline improvement project. I'm very happy to report that the contractor started work on this project April 6th, and I'm hopeful that will continue to go forward at an expedited pace. So another important project. Last thing I will note is that typically our Hilltop Community Task Force is on the third Wednesday, but because of the program this coming Thursday, that has been moved to the 23rd, Thursday the 23rd at 4:30, and that'll take place in this room. Your Honor, that's all I have, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Boland. We will continue on to our law director, Mr. Rapella.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Rapella. And this evening, we'd like to thank the two department heads for attending, Mary Beth, our operations director, and Mr. Charlie, our urban projects director. We will now move into miscellaneous reports from the members of council. One signing in, Mr. Bill Magna.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess for the city manager is, have we made any progress on the explanation of the $2.2 million in the water adjustments for 2011, 12, and 13? Have we made any-
If I could, Your Honor.
Mr. Rapella.
Yes, Councilman Pomagna, that research has been completed. I've asked our finance director to respond to your request, provide you that information that she was able to research, and I plan to expand on that discussion at our utility committee meeting next Tuesday. And I would also add that I have asked her, as an outgrowth of the performance audit, but I think that this question also kind of underscored that, make certain that she's focusing as well on new policies and procedures. I think that was an important part of the performance audit directives that we received, and so she's going to give an update on those policies and procedures as well next Tuesday.
Okay. And I guess the second one, maybe, will we address in that utility meeting the policy on who can make an adjustment, who can't make an adjustment?
Yeah, that's exactly right. One of the things we're looking at, and we'll be prepared to talk about that at that meeting as well.
Okay. And also, do we have the adjustment records from the delinquency board, or I know that's not the proper name of it.
Utility Review Board.
Yeah. For 14, do we have those yet?
Here, I know she had all, that she's researched all the action that was taken from the delinquency. I will make certain that was tied to the review board, or to make certain, clarify that it was whatever the review board did, that we have that clarified.
For 14.
For 14,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And when you go on vacation, Mr. Bowler, or you report off sick, who do you report off to?
Well, if I'm off for an extended period, in the past vacation, I've asked the mayor to be the acting city manager.
Could, in the future, when he's not gone for a week, could maybe send an email out so everybody knows that he's on vacation?
Yeah, I would be happy to do
Yeah, like, you were gone and I didn't have, nobody had a clue.
All department heads receives an email that I am the acting city manager.
But none of the council members.
that. I'd be happy to clarify that in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Your Honor, I wanted to mention.
I can't remember whether I did or not.
With his vacation, I did receive, and I thought that you had forwarded that on to all of council. Kenny, you
I did, I
you
know.
got it. As far as like individual days and stuff like that, I'm not sure individual days, you usually
Well, just an
Sign
email,
a sick day
a
or
quick
something.
email that he's not gonna be there. That way, if someone calls you, they can, this is the city manager, and if you send it down there or whatever.
But as for the vacation, when he was gone, Easter week, I knew he was gone, and there was an email, blanket email sent to everybody.
Well, not to us. I didn't receive it, and
I didn't receive it either.
so,
Well, then, now when they said I got it.
okay.
I'll be happy to clarify that.
Okay, thanks.
I want to be able to be found.
Yeah, make sure all accounts.
Let me just say that being in that capacity and being the mayor of the city of Steubenville, if that situation ever arises, or any situation, please, you all have my number, please feel free to give me a call and we'll sort it out.
Oh, I don't mind bugging you, but
I know.
I gotta know to bug you.
You
You know?
do, so that's all.
I'm definitely bugging. And just the last thing in the near future, because it's spring now and I'm already hearing it, Efts Lane and Lover's Lane. Something has to be done with both of those roads. I mean, I know money's tight, but we're gonna have to figure something out to do with that Efts Lane and Lover's Lane. Now, the Efts Lane part, I'm gonna try to set up a meeting with the people that live on Efts Lane to come together to try to get some ideas from them and some input just to see what's going on, because it's in a bad way. I mean, I'm sure that everybody knows that, but I travel it every day, and you know it's coming, so maybe we can make some preparation to get ready to take some action with those two. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Bill Magna. And talking about Efts Lane, I know Mr. Davis received a call. I received a text message, I believe, from Mr. Petrella. I'm sure he probably contacted you too.
Oh, I talked to just about everybody.
I talked to a couple others, and I would agree with that statement. And maybe at the next service committee meeting, we could address that issue, or have a meeting with Mr. Beard for some of his recommendations. Mr. Bowles.
Yeah, Your Honor, if I could, might shed some additional information. As the council may remember, we did identify, obviously, Efts Lane as one of our most challenging streets that we need to continue to work to improve. But in our capital improvements plan, we actually identified improvements in 2016, was how we budgeted that. There is $70,000 budgeted in 2016 in the capital improvements plan for chip seal of Efts Lane. So we do have it on the radar screen, but again, it's 2016. And I know that our crews have been out on Lover's Lane quite often. I think one of the things that's kind of changed the dynamics now, for that first month or so, I think as most people are aware, you can't really get the hot mix, and so we're putting in not really a permanent fix in some of those potholes in the city. And I know there was one in particular on Lover's Lane that I continued to watch a lot, and we struggled, and it would come up, it would run over, and the temporary material would come out. But I'm really happy to note that it's that and a number of potholes on Lover's Lane have been filled now with the hot mix, and we're going to continue to watch those. But I think with that now being available, we should be able to turn the corner on some of these streets and make more permanent impact in pothole repair.
Yeah. You know, I think I left something out there too, because that's true. Those city crews, they've been out there, they were out there way earlier than I thought they would be out there. And I mean, I feel bad for them because it's kind of like, futile, but they are trying to do it, and they've been there quite a lot for this time of the year, so.
It's that time of the year for the potholes, without a doubt. In fact, talking to Mr. Petrarca, indicated about 2016 in the city's commitment on Efts Lane. He was hoping and praying that when he wakes up tomorrow morning, Efts Lane's repaved. So, Mr. Davis.
Yes, and if I just want to add a little bit to the Efts Lane here. Mr. Boland Obviously, the Columbia Gas crews have just finished on Efts Lane. They're on the side roads now, and the question that keeps coming up is, are they going to go back and give us more of a permanent solution? I know they fill and dig up and fill and dig up until they get everybody hooked up. I think on Efts Lane, they are hooked up. But that would be my question, is the contractor going to go out and help us out a little bit with some of that, because some of it may be their problem.
Councilman Davis, I'd be happy to look into that. I don't know, Chris, did you, I know Mike is directly involved. I don't know if you have any knowledge of that, but I will ask Mr. Dolak tomorrow.
Yeah, if I could, Kenny and Tim both. Today when I was on sitting in the backyard, they're bringing topsoil and they're dumping it behind Respecs there. They're bringing some good topsoil in, and I seen the front loader come down there. Now where he went, I don't really know.
They usually do, but it takes them a while.
He did. They were dumping a good bit of topsoil in the back of Respecs for that. So
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Thank you, Mr. Bill Nyman, and thank you, Mr. Baldwin. That will conclude the miscellaneous reports from the members of council. We will now move into public forum. Is there anyone wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.
My name is Lee Porter. I live at 120 Efts Lane. First of all, the contractor out there has done an excellent job. They have worked under conditions that are unbelievable. 10 degrees above zero. They've done an excellent job. One thing that I did learn, and I paid attention, I talked to the surveyor out there. There was always a question of where the right-of-way was, on whose side of the road. Well, after I talked to him, I found out where the right-of-way is. Believe it or not, there's enough room there that this road can be widened out to handle the volume of traffic that we have today out there. You've had 2 bad winters, the frost line was deep, and when it came up, the road deteriorated. As far as the contractor, any hole that he dug, they immediately filled it. Now, the idea is we got a twofold problem out there. The road is old. It never was properly maintained. The city, I have documents here. I wasn't going to bring this up tonight, but since Mr. Villamack did, I've been working on this. I'm back in 1953. There was a test case in Ohio concerning unimproved roads. I'm still waiting. I want to get that information. What the law says on this is that when the city of Steubenville annexed that area out there from the county, I believe it was 1963, 62. Well, Efts Lane, Brockton, and 2 or 3 other streets were what we were called, they were unimproved roads. Now the test case in Ohio, this gentleman from Western Ohio took the city to court. And the way it reads is that the municipality or the county is responsible for unimproved roads. They have 3 criteria that they have to follow. Number 1, proper lighting, which you have out there. Number 2, proper guardrails where necessary. You have 1 guardrail in the 100 block that goes over that hill by Wendy's and Respecs. It's like this, gentlemen. It's leaning over. That is your problem. The thing that you're in violation of out there is proper drainage. There is no drainage on that side. The water starts, it comes down. There's water going on people's property. This has been going on since I lived out there. That is your responsibility. That is not the property owners. Every person who built a home out there was responsible when they put their driveway in. The city didn't go and put a pipe in for them. That property owner had to do that themselves. That was their responsibility. So we can sit here and talk about Efts Lane. Personally, this road, I call it the second bypass. And I'll tell you what goes on out there, and I'm probably the only person that keeps track of these things. In one day's time, and I don't think there's one person in this room who can say this, I have 10 school buses in and out in one day.
There's a lot of school buses for sure.
In 1 week, figure it out. That's 50. A month, 200. That's every day. Now, that's the school buses. These school buses are out of sync with the other vehicles because of the length. So they busted these side of the road completely down. Now we end up with 4 garbage packers every week. Steubenville, which should be in there. Wintersville, they have to go into Kara Place because some of the homes in Kara Place are in Wintersville. Plus, we have 2 independent haulers in there. They go to Cross Creek Township, that section of Efts Land. Now, these trucks are fully loaded, so all this weight is taking its toll. To correct this road, I mean, it's not going to take blacktop to go out and patch holes here. This is a major problem out there. And truthfully, it's not only a problem for the property owners, it's a problem for you gentlemen. Because all it's going to take is for something to happen out there, and immediately, some attorney or somebody's going to say, hey, wait a minute. They're going to look all this information up about the highways, their high code, and so we're going to be in big trouble. Now, the other streets were taken care of. Brockton, Preston, even did 2 alleys. One alley from, Bray Barton down to Wilma. So I've heard rumors. Well, maybe we'll have to just put a property assessment. No, not as long as I'm out there. You people are responsible for this road, and that's it. Now, I wasn't going to address this tonight. I had something else I wanted to address. But since Mr. Philip Mack brought that, actually, the contractor, in my opinion, they did an excellent job. They were under, well, how would you like to be out there having buses? Oil tank trucks, water haulers. All this goes on all the time. And then we have people, the traffic is unbelievable out there. But I wasn't going to bring that up. The thing I wanted to bring up tonight, one of them, I have a couple other items. The gentleman, the council people who voted, and I know this sounds like a dead dog or beating it down, but the council people who voted against the JD Green Team thing, you gentlemen will see, and this is my own feelings, my own predictions. Headlines, they're having a meeting, they're getting legal counsel. I predict 3.5 years, they'll be bankrupt and they'll be broke. And the reason I'm saying this is this. They have no control over fuel. As you know, 2 months ago, everybody got excited. Gasoline prices come down. Not diesel fuel, it stayed right there. They have no control over the fuel that they buy for those trucks. Secondly, they farm out all their mechanical work. So those 2 items alone, they have no control. So just give them a little bit of time. You people voted, against it. You did the right thing. And they're supposed to have nice paper, I think monthly financial meetings. Well, let me tell you something. By the time they get done wrangling among themselves, 3.5 years, they'll be broken. First of all, the trucks take a tremendous beating. I mean, they're on the road 5 days a week. But that's all I want to say for tonight. But I will get back with Mr. Rapella on the high revised code, the responsibility of the city on that road. But it is a mess, and it never was addressed. My own personal opinion is when the city negotiated with the county to annex that, they should have looked into it a little more and made the county say, hey, look, you have to put drains in here. They didn't do it. But that's in the past. But that's all I have to say about it. I hope Mr. Billimack does call the meeting for the residents out there. And we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address. Mr. Maker.
Dr. Honor, I move
Wait. Please, your mayor, your honor, Mr. Mayor. My name is Greg Nagy, Patty Mud Road. Many of you know, I've been a firefighter with the city for the last almost 30 years. And I want to make it abundantly clear that anything I say here tonight, I do not represent the Steubenville Fire Department, nor do I represent the Steubenville Firefighters Association, Local 228 of the International. While some of those members may agree with some of the things I have to say, my comments are mine alone, and I take full and sole responsibility for them. How much time do I get?
Much longer.
Thank you. I guess got a couple of
The
things.
chair saying that.
I know. I guess a couple of things. I'll try to be brief. First of all, 32 years ago, when I took the test to become a member of the Steubenville Fire, well, to become eligible, to get onto an eligibility list, to become a member of the Steubenville Fire Department, there are basically 4 stipulations in place. You had to be a resident of the city, maybe 21 years of age, high school diploma, and a valid driver's license. And no criminal record, so I guess there's 5, but basically 4. We took the test in room 202, old study hall in the high school. Place was full, 75 people at least. Developed a very long eligibility list, went really, really well. Shortly after that, when I was appointed to the department, they started toying with the regulations to sit for an entry-level examination. I'm talking about an entry-level examination that is designed to provide a list of eligible candidates. The test is exclusionary enough. So somehow, these other regulations were developed, which turned into this 2-page document, which I will leave here for you to look at your leisure, or you can get it from the Civil Service Commission. But I can tell you what it says. And in essence, what it says is, if you were born here in the city of Steubenville, to parents who have lived here, or were maybe all their lives, most of their lives, and paid taxes here, if you graduated from Steubenville High School, like I did, or Catholic Central, and because you couldn't go to college, or you chose not to go to college, or whatever it was that prevented you from that, you went to work instead. So you got a job at Kroger, or you got a job at the mall. I worked out at Carlisle's, many of you remember that place. For the next 4 years, and you pay city taxes as well. And one day you pick up the newspaper and you see, hey, there's an opening, they're going to get a test for the eligibility list for the fire department. You say, you know, I would really like to go and serve my friends and neighbors as a firefighter in the city of Steubenville. I think it ties in very well with the love where you live slogan that we're running with now. And what this document says now is that you can't do that because there are other stipulations that require you to have some college education to sit for this entry-level examination. The people who can sit for it, say you were from Toledo and you got an accounting degree, well, you could come right on into the city of Steubenville and sit for this examination. Say you lived in Piney Fork, and I've got nothing against Piney Fork or any other rural community anywhere in the United States. If you spent 4 years there on their volunteer fire department, perhaps seeing some things or never seeing anything of an urban type of threat to public safety, 4 years there, if you picked up an EMT certificate, you could stroll right in, sit for this examination. However, like I said, the local guy, there's just no way. You cannot do it. I've been an advocate to get these regulations changed almost from their inception. And the only people I've ever encountered, because I take this up with a lot of people in the city, the only people I've ever encountered that say that's not fair, or believe that it is fair, were members of the commission. And to their credit, I have not addressed this to some of the newer members. The makeup is not the same as it was when I addressed the commission 20 years ago. But now, as I enter the twilight of my career, I would like to see this kind of opportunity available for young people here. I don't care about the residency thing. There's a lot of good, all the young people in the valley need a shot at opportunity. But definitely the people who have lived and worked here and grown up here, who are compelled to serve, should at least be able to take a test to get that chance. So I would put forth, for me, it was the best thing I ever did. I love my job. I haven't been the best employee. Certainly haven't been the worst. But it's provided me a good living. I raised my family. We went to Disney World twice. And yeah, I think that should be available for people just like me, who for whatever reason, whether it be on their control or not, they could not pursue a college education, therefore accumulate the kind of credentials that are required to sit for an entry-level examination to get on an eligibility list. And I believe, maybe the current members of the Civil Service Commission would believe that too. It certainly reflects what I've determined to be community values. But if they don't, I would put forth that they should be changed to someone who does. And that's pretty much all I have on that issue. Is there anybody else? May I continue with something else?
We have 10 minutes.
Am I at 10?
I think he's at 10. Mr. Nagy.
Full of hook.
Mr. Nagy, I run the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Address it to me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I will speak as long as you provide me the opportunity, and I will quit the minute you say I've exceeded my time.
As long as you stay on track.
I'll try. I do have a tendency to drift a little
Trust
bit.
me, I know.
So thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. 2 weeks ago, you ratified a labor agreement between the Steubenville Firefighters Association and the City of Steubenville. 2 of you gentlemen voted no. Certainly within your right. I emphasize again, I don't speak for the department or the firefighters union. I speak for myself as a member of both of those organizations. Mr. DiLoretto said, well, city doesn't have any money. And while I don't necessarily believe that, or agree with that, I've heard that 1,000 times in the 30 years I've been here. I can live with that. Some of the other comments that were made, I take exception to. I think, and if I misquote you, correct me, but Dave usually does a pretty good job of listening and reporting what goes on here. But the part that I really didn't care for was that somehow the deal was a good deal for the firefighters, but a bad deal for the city. And to me, that implied that of all the city expenditures, the fire department is the worst return on investment. And I certainly hope that's not what you meant. Because I know those guys and I know myself, and they're sitting around waiting to do anything and everything possible in the event of an emergency. So I don't believe the money that's invested in the fire department is a poor investment, at least not a poor one for the citizens of Steubenville. And if we would take that 2.2% and maybe have the finance director convert that to a real dollar figure, we can see what kind of money we're throwing around here in this labor agreement. Because for me personally, I give that away annually in charity. 2.2% of my salary at least. $300 plus comes off the top right away in United Way payroll deduction. The rest of the stuff you have to take my word for. But that, for me, ballpark, that's about $40 a pack. Right? And I'm happy to have it. Don't get me wrong. Let me get back to the part about how happy I am to have this job. And it's been an honor to serve my friends and family that I know here, and my neighbors and everybody else.
Mr. Nagy, let me try to help you out with this. Let's focus.
Okay.
Let's try to wrap it up.
I'll wrap it up right now.
I do want to make a comment.
Okay.
That, in all fairness, this council did spend a lot of time back and forth with negotiations. They were completely aware of the cost.
I understand, and I have no problem with any of that.
Excuse me, can I just finish?
Absolutely.
Thank you. They were fully aware of the impact that they had. And all members of council at one point or another had mixed emotions about the process. But The firefighters, and you know I have been a big proponent and supporter of the fire department, has received a contract. We are now working out the details for the table of organization so it could reflect in their paychecks. So we are moving forward with that. The fire department, and it was agreed upon, the stumbling block was the staffing level, not the 2.2%. And there was mixed emotions about that.
Once again, that's not that's not part of my authorization to speak to anything that the union and those negotiations were. My problem is what I believe are sanctimonious proclamations denigrating the fire service that originate in this forum. And I feel it's my duty as a firefighter to my brothers and sisters and the fire service in general to refute those types of statements here in the same forum in which they were given. So, in conclusion, I will say that what I've given up for that 2.2% raise was 30 years of my life in 24-hour increments, minus my exorbitant vacation. I've given up this biceps tendon in a garage fire out in the West End. I've had roofs fall on me, ceilings and floors, and I've fallen through all three. I fell in a giant hole out the mall. Luckily, I broke my fall in my face, and it didn't damage my rugged good looks. But nonetheless, crawl around on my belly in a 900-degree house fire looking for somebody's cat, and I'm a dog man. Please, in the future, I understand voting no. I understand not having any money. But I don't understand this need that seems to have developed here to assault firemen. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Hi, Bill Isaac, 389 Austin Avenue, Steubenville. I've just got a few plethora of thoughts I want to state. Mr. Bill Magna, when you're pursuing this delinquent water count issues, I know they're going to present to you what they're going to do now to fix what wasn't done in the past. But one of the issues that's on a lot of citizens' minds is who had the authority, how did they get the authority to write off those delinquent water accounts? Just in 2013, on the auditor's report, which is table 4, just in 2013, the city finance director would be the person I would think would be one of the persons to write off delinquent water accounts. He'd written off 0.1% of those delinquent accounts. And the Delinquent Water Review Board written off 2.5%, 0.1% by the Finance Committee member, 2.5% by the Review Board. And two entities that I would think would have the authority and jurisdiction to write off any delinquent water accounts. My question is, where did the authority come from for those people back in 2011, 2012, and 2013? And you'll find out in 2014, hopefully. 2015, we'll find out what the new policy and procedures are from this point forward. Just to reiterate, Review Board wrote off 2.2%. One other entity wrote off just a little under 2.2%. That was 2.1% of the delinquent water accounts. And they're the second highest on there, below the Review Board. It was the city law director. So my question is, how did that individual get the authority to write that off? So I'm sure there's an answer there, but in your search, could you possibly find something out about that? But you don't have to respond to that. You don't have to respond to that.
I
have no idea.
answer, yeah. Mr. Callaway, continue, please.
Mr. Bowler, on the Hilltop Community Task Force, I was under the impression that it was just going to be a closed organization. I'm fine with that. Two residents from the Hilltop attend that meeting. I was hoping they would bring something back to the community to let us know what's going on. Yeah, what's happening. They don't have to give us the strategy of the police department and the tactics that they use, but just kind of reassure us. That's why we were hoping that this task force would bring about. Is it open to the public? Because I would respect it if it stays closed.
Mr. Rowland, you can answer that when he concludes his remarks too. We got the Hilltop and write-offs.
Thank you. I had a meeting at the Chapel Library with 2 individuals that are interested in passing out the petition on this. Again, I understand what the legislature did on this by objecting to the issuance of a new liquor permit for this. You guys did your job. Again, the police department worked to get a padlock procedure with the law department, everything great. You guys did your job. The third way to deal with a liquor permit premise is for the citizens to do something about it. I know you guys did your job and rezoned that place, so it's not going to go back to a liquor permit premise. At least not with this administration, and this body. But in the future, we got a different makeup. We certainly will have one. Mr. Metcalf leads, Councilman Metcalf leads. Maybe down the road there'll be another change or two. I don't foresee that happening, but it could. So maybe the council will rezone it back to so we can have this. My appeal is for the citizens to get involved in this and just let the voters decide in that precinct, in that ward and in that precinct. And let it be up to them, because if they don't put any sweat equity into this, they're going to come back pointing their fingers, Mr. DiLoretta. Just remember, when they're pointing a finger at you, they've got 3 pointed back at them. That's all you got to tell them. They need to put some sweat equity in
First
this.
time.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yeah, they need to, in my opinion, put some sweat equity into this. And I sent a letter to the board of directors of the Hilltop Community Development Corporation asking for a meeting so I can go over with it. Some people think this is similar to prohibition. It's not. Prohibition was government imposed nationwide. This is a local liquor election just by precinct. So it's a small entity of people. I'll try to make a meeting with the Steubenville Revitalization Group. Let them know somebody's trying to do something positive on the Hilltop. But it's going to be up to the voters in November to decide whether they want to go to precinct drive, strictly for on-premise consumption of alcohol. So it won't affect any other businesses like Maryland Market, Kroger, Stevie's, or anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rapella, you wanted to address?
I was directed by the city manager back in 2011 to get involved in water decisions. I believe I contacted Bob last week. I have a stack of my decisions and why I made them, and I invited Bob to come down at the time so that I can show him the money I collected and the money that was written off and the reasons that was done. So,
And that's absolutely correct.
yeah, so Bob will be able to report that.
Thank you, Mr. Rapella. Mr. Boland, the Hilltop, open to the public?
Yes,
Any
thank you, Your Honor. The Hilltop Community Task Force, it's not a public meeting. So many communities have formed task forces, plural, of different groups that can help and give input to the city. Different groups, faith-based, community groups, United Way, group that we invited, and come and provide their perspectives. Maybe it isn't completely focused on police or crime reduction. It's on, and maybe more a little bit on how to improve the quality of life in those areas. So that's really been the focus. The group seems to continue to grow. We've had 2 meetings, so I'm hopeful that it'll continue to find its legs and then focus on some doable projects and have that will have meaningful impact in those communities this year. I did report out at the last safety committee meeting, I believe, some of the results of that meeting, and certainly I will continue to do that. So that's where I would encourage individuals interested in that to come to the safety committee meeting, and that's where it'll be reported out. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Boland. We might want to point out that the council members or myself don't serve on this particular committee. We felt that if it's faith-based and driven by the citizens, concerned citizens, the Hilltop groups and all, we would have better results. But we do have one representative. I know the ward councilman makes up of Mr. Pleasant Heights, have been keeping in touch and attending the meetings, and I'm sure if you feel there's something to report, you'll be reporting also later on, Mr. Holman. Thank you, gentlemen. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address. If not, that will conclude the public participation. Mr. Bill Magna, you have a...
Yeah, I'd just like to make two statements. The first one is in reference to these water adjustments. My pursuit of trying to find out what's going on with these water adjustments is in no way, shape, or form saying that anybody did anything wrong. I want to be clear with that. I want to find out why it happened and prevent it from happening again. So I don't want anybody to be under the impression that I'm saying that something's wrong with that. The second thing is Mr. Rappella contacted me and said, Bob, come down to the office and have a meeting with me, and I was unable to go because of the gas meter, and one day a doctor's appointment the next day, because I got to, well, that's another story, but I haven't been able to get down to him to talk to him, but he called me, I didn't call him, he called me and said to come down. And the second statement is to Gray Nagy. I've been around you as long, well, I was long before you, so I worked around you a lot, and you're one of the best firemen that I ever had the privilege to be around, working for the city. And no remarks of council would ever intend to defame or make your job any smaller, because I was policeman for almost 26 years, and I wouldn't be a fireman. So I've been around you a long time, and
Thanks, Bob.
you're one heck of a fireman.
I appreciate that, thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Bill Magna. And I think that really goes to the full staff of the fire department. We have a lot of faith and confidence. I too have known Greg Nagy for quite a few years. But if we continue to give him compliments, you think he's got a head on the through the door on the way out.
I already told him, I said, if I've ever robbed a bank, he's gonna be my getaway driver.
There you go. Thank you. If there's no further business, Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, there's no further business. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been really moved to second that we adjourn. Roll call.
Mr. DeLauro.